my Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your timeless romantic soulmate read for November 2020. I am your reader, Mark Angelo lYONS, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, son of a Cancerian mother, the Archangel of Lions, Mark Angelo lYONS. But you can call me Mal. Hi. Hello, my crab cakes, my crablets. I love you all so very much, my subscribers. Seriously, thank you so very much for your love, your support, your subscriptions, your likes, your comments, your shares, everything that you do, that you are helping Drawing the Circle Productions channel grow. Slow and steady wins the race, but we are getting there, and I'm actually enjoying it a lot. So thank you so much. You know, Cancerians are the mothers of the zodiac. So, you're helping, you're nurturing, right? You're mothering my channel in a way from a distance, right? Bette Midler, from a distance, you're doing it. So thank you so much. And if you are new to my channel, please do consider liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, commenting, sharing, and all that stuff, helping me grow my YouTube channel. Like, for example, this reading I'm doing has an extended part of it, right? This is part one. You'll get 12 cards. In the extended readings, you get another 12 cards, but I have to do that on Vimeo.com, and I love Vimeo.com. Vimeo on demand has been good to me over the past 4 years or so. But once I hit 30,000 subscribers here, I can get the membership thingy, right? The join button, and then you can pay one price per month and get all of the extended readings in one shot, well, as they're available. But you have to pay per view on Vimeo. So that's just how that works. So enough business. Let's talk about this reading. It is a romantic soulmate contract read, timeless, but I'm doing this in November 2020. We're looking at a soul contract, a particular type of soul contract, soulmate, different than twin flame. There are links in the description box explaining the two. There's a new definition. There's a new definition by spiritual teacher Matt Kahn, and watched that about 2 years or so ago, and it just changed the game. So that's what these readings are based on. Twin flames, you teach each other how to heal yourselves. Sounds good on paper, but it's really hard. Soulmates, you help each other heal. There are more than one in your life. You don't just have one soulmate. They're not all romantic, sexual. My mother and I are soulmates. Blessed be, right? We help each other heal. We have since in utero, right? So a lot of different ways to look at it, but we are looking at the romantic sexual ones. You may or may not know each other. You may be together or apart. All that stuff we have a look at. So we're going to do divine feminine on this side, divine masculine on this side, just to define party one and party two of a contract with a center lane. Now, even though you're going to get 12 cards in this part of it on YouTube, there will be a 13th card on the table, which will be the first card turned over in the extended reading over on Vimeo, but I'm putting up a preview at the end so you will see what that card is, that 13th. So hang on till the end of the preview. Cool. I guess that's about it. It's a general read. Please take what resonates, leave what doesn't, because even though these are romantic reads, you might have more than one romantic situation going on, or perhaps one situation where your sun, your moon, your rising, and your Venus sign are going to get different info on the one or maybe 2 or 3 romantic soulmates going on in your energy field. I guess that's about it. Focus on your breath. I'll do the same to get you the clarity, oh, my nose is running, guidance and grace, I don't know what that's about, water signs, that I am trained to do, right? And I love you all. So take a deep breath. Be here now. Yeah, all of the decks that I read are in the description box all the way at the bottom. We're going to start with 3 Caroline Myss archetype cards to determine the archetypal patterns that are dominant in the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the contract in and of itself, what I like to call the center lane. And that one we will save for the preview slash the extended. You'll get to see it if you stick to the end. Breathe. Oh, there you are, my pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need 3 cards for this Cancerian collective sun, moon, rising, Venus sign in this happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, satisfying soulmate contract for November 2020 or timeless. Please, for the divine feminine in this contract we're looking at, for the divine masculine in this soulmate contract, and one for the contract where it is, November 2020 or timeless from the power of the archetypes. This Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intuitive, sexual, satisfying soulmate contract, November 2020, or timeless. Now remember that third one down, you'll see in the preview and on Vimeo. But let's see who our couple is. Remember, these can be triggery and not overly so, I don't think. We've got a divine feminine poet archetype and a divine masculine teacher archetype. Now, I'll say it a billion times as necessary. This is not about bodily gender. This could be any combo you like, or as it's written in the divine plan, the soul contract. The poet is the creative family of archetype, the teacher, the wisdom family, and really these two together, I could see being very supportive of each other in terms of communication, because they both kind of have to communicate to an extent. So the shadow and the light, remember, you're helping each other heal. So the shadow content is what you're helping each other heal through the quantum entanglement of a soulmate soul contract, right? So it's happening whether you know each other or not, whether you are together or not. It doesn't matter. This is what the contract is about. So the shadow side is the lead that's being healed, brought into the light attribute. The shadow of the poet turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. Now, that might be hard to think of until you really get how cruel a lyrical gift can be. Turns a lyric gift. I have a lyric gift. I can write lyrics. I'm verbal. I'm a wordsmith. I don't consider myself a poet, though. The light attribute, though, expresses soul insights in symbolic language. Now, that's really wonderful in a romantic context at all. It's like they're not even trying to make poetry. It just comes out of them. It's just a natural soul power, their soul. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Well, number one, you're nice to look at. The teacher archetype for the divine masculine here, and we all know the shadow teacher. We've all had the shadow teacher in one way, shape, or form, literal or symbolic, in our lives. Manipulating or abusing students. Please. Teaching negative traits and destructive skills, and that could be teaching by example too, but someone to have this archetype, a reason, a season, or a lifetime, it's going to be something that keeps recurring, either for a brief part of their life, right, a reason, a season, a good chunk of their life, or lifelong. Like I have the teacher pretty much lifelong, because my mother's a teacher, right? My Cancerian mother was a nursery school teacher. That's why I'm so good at shapes, colors, and symbols. The light attribute, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. So there's definitely expression and communication here. So for Cancerians, both of them could be, one of them obviously is Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus sign. I think we're looking at two very inspiring people, but maybe in different ways. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the Daughters of the Moon Tarot to get an element spread for the Divine Feminine. We're going to use the Mythic Tarot to do the same for the Divine Masculine, Fire, Earth, Air, Water, Spirit. I'll call it out as I go in the prayer while I'm getting the cards. All you got to do is breathe. Breathe. As I call upon my goddesses. Hestia, Hera, Hecate. My goddesses who share the throne of Cancer, the Virgin, the Queen, and the Crone. Please, I need 5 cards in clarity for the Divine Feminine Poet in this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, satisfying soulmate contract for November 2020 or timeless. Please, can you give me one for this Divine Feminine's element of fire, what she desires, one for her element of earth, what she has, the fuel that feeds the fire to help her get what she wants, element of air, what is she thinking about predominantly in this contract, element of water, what is she feeling predominantly in this contract. I'll take that one. And most importantly, I'll take that one, the point of view of the soul who's chosen to incarnate, to play the role in this soulmate contract. We're going to do the same for the Divine Masculine real quickly so that we have all of those on the cards. And that will be the conclusion of this reading. You're literally getting 12 cards, but we're going to turn them over element by element to see the comparison. Breathe. My gods of water, my gods of the sign of Cancer, please. I need 5 cards in clarity for this divine masculine teacher archetype. In this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, satisfying, soulmate, contract for November 2020 or timeless, please. Element spread, element of fire. What does he desire in this soulmate contract? Element of earth, what does he have? The fuel that feeds the fire that helps him attain his desire. What is element of air? What is he predominantly thinking about this contract? We'll take that one. That felt right. Element of water. What is he predominantly feeling in this soulmate contract, or about this soulmate contract? Certainly, those are not quite the same thing. And of course, most importantly, the point of view or the voice of the soul that was chosen to incarnate, to play this role as this divine masculine teacher in this soulmate contract. All of our cards are on the table. Let's have a look. Remember, we got the poet, the teacher. What do they want? Well, the teacher wants the sun, the S-U, and wants happy, wants clarity. And that makes sense for a poet, right? They want to be lit up on the inside and on the outside. They want just this happiness, this wholeness, this health, this light, this vitality in their lives and this contract. So major arcana card in the element of fire. So there's definitely a higher soul, spirit, inspiration calling this one forward. The divine masculine wants the 4 of Swords, a stability of desire, a period of rest before change. Now, certainly people will say the 4 of Wands is the marriage card. I'll agree to an extent, right? Because marriage, and certainly in the Rider-Waite deck, that's evident. It looks like a wedding party headed towards an altar of sorts. But to go deeper here, this is about really wanting that stability to build something in terms of what is desired. So in a way, obviously the sun is, well, it's technically a ball of gas, but we think of it as element of fire. And here we have the 4 of Wands, a fire card. So I feel like what they want, it does make sense, right? So the creative archetype, a creative family archetype of the poet was like, I want enlightenment and beauty and love and happiness and clarity and just wonderful. And so why wouldn't a wisdom archetype like the teacher archetype say, yes, I want that too, but I want that structured and stable, right? Where it is healing and rejuvenating, right? Because after the 4 comes the 5, which is usually about some kind of change and conflict. So something a bit more stable here, though more stable than, no longer the weighting of the 3, the establishment of the 4, but still not all the way to the fulfillment of the 10, just to speak numerologically. All right. So this one seems a bit more pragmatic. This one seems a little bit more spiritual, inspirational. What is it that they have? Their element of earth. Well, this is lovely. We've got the 6 of Cups here. So she's got that emotional balance, that ability, that compassion is actually what's written on the bottom of the card, that balanced give and take of emotion, right? Like his ability to give, her ability to receive. Remember, I have to say her and him to keep it straight in my head. It's not about bodily gender. I'll say it a billion times as needed. But really has that, like has this thing, like this poet might very well be in touch with their emotions, but also very receptive to the emotions of others. So that's really cool. And I would say feeling this way, like there may very well be, if these two know each other, there might very well be that equal give and take. However, the divine masculine right now is in the 8 of Swords, a bit of a mental trap, between a mental rock and a hard place. I mean, the 8 of Swords is usually, you see, blindfolded and bound. This is sort of like that, but kind of not just overthinking, but really, to me, the 8 and the 9 of Swords are different in this sense. They're both mental, obviously, they're element of air, but the 8 is almost like a loop, like you're trapped in a pattern of thinking, circular thinking, right? Which came first, the chicken and the egg, right? Or the egg, right? Like if those kind of situations in their life. So they might be dealing with something where they are kind of stuck in a mental loop, where to me the 9 of Swords is that overwhelm where you just can't stop the thoughts. I mean, looping is similar, but 9 of Swords, it just keeps you up at night. It's nightmarish in its worst extreme, one would say. That there's a lot of That's why the stability, right? That's why they want the stability. It's like, can we just, do we have to do this in a way that's not so repetitive? Because I can't, I'm having trouble processing how to do this. So an interesting balance of air and fire and water and spirit, I guess you would say, because it is the sun card. So what are they thinking, right? What is the element of air, their predominant thoughts here? Well, interesting, the Divine Feminine has the Aries card. Now, this Divine Masculine is in Aries, and this deck doesn't screw around with zodiac signs. It says one sign, right? This cardinal fire, Calafia, the maiden of flames, the Aries card. So then what she really is thinking about is either if there is this divine masculine presence, if there's some Aries energy in there, but certainly first house, right? Thinking about herself, thinking about what she needs to do for herself, thinking of how to love herself, heal herself, and that for 2020 seems to be the maxim for a lot of the divine feminines. I know, because we just can't be as external as we want to be, so we've really focused on our own interior work, healing people through quantum entanglements and unity consciousness and all that stuff. The divine masculine, though, really is thinking about a brand new beginning here in this contract, right? So there is passion here between these two, but the teacher is being very wise in the sense of saying, I want this to start with something simple and stable. Right now, if these two don't know each other, that could make sense too. They're sort of kind of clearing out what it is they don't want to focus on what they do want, right? That clarity has come this year for everybody, if they're paying attention, right? As things are stripped away that we no longer need, even though we may think we need them, the divine pulls things away so that we really get clear on what we need and what we want and what the difference is. Yeah? So this Ace of Pentacles here being held aloft by Poseidon out of the water, fishy tail, it does make sense. It does make sense that this divine masculine teacher archetype with all of this looping going on in the Eight of Swords, that feeling of being mentally trapped, or that experience of being trapped in a thought or in a pattern or a belief or in a conditioning from family or society or whatever, is still thinking about, I want to make this seed grow. This is a good solid foundation here, a good beginning. I want this to begin strongly. Again, whether they know each other or not, the teacher would be thinking about, okay, my next relationship, I want to do this. But if they know each other, well, and they're both aces in a sense, right? Aries, first sign of the zodiac, and the Ace of Pentacles. So there's a lot of resonance here, a lot of mirroring going on here. Even though we're using two separate decks, we haven't seen the same card show up in both decks. But aside from their element of earth, which they are in very different places, right? One in water, one in air, it doesn't mean that there can't be communication between the two of them that really would help the other one heal, and vice versa. So let's see that element of water. What do we got going on here? Yeah. Okay. So the Divine Feminine has the Aquarius card. Now, this is an air sign. Obviously, Aquarius is fixed air. So there might be a real pulling back in terms of emotion to view the emotion from a higher, either intellectual or, I want to say, I'm trying to pull away from the clairs, like clairvoyant, clairaudient, that stuff, but to see it from the larger picture. 11th house energy is how you interact with the world. Interaction with the world, right? It's humanitarianism, like all the positive stuff, right? Philanthropy and unity consciousness and thinking outside the box, right? Ruled by Uranus, the rebel, the one who breaks boundaries, right? The boundaries set by Saturn are expanded past by Jupiter and completely broken through Uranus. So let's leave Uranus out of this for the moment. Because we've also got the Five of Pentacles here. That's why I'm saying this. So a real pulling back to look at this, at their own feelings, but in a larger context. Like maybe this poet, this Divine Feminine, is really getting the symbolic patterns, right? The insights are coming in terms of her own path of true love, in terms of twin flames and soulmates and how parents play into that. So getting a larger picture here, but this Divine Masculine feels out in the cold. Five of Pentacles, right? But there's a physical part of this. So again, whether or not you two have met or know each other, the Divine Masculine is feeling outcast or deprived, or like they've missed the boat or the boat missed them, so to speak. So that would make sense. Again, here's the thing, because the Divine Feminine's like, I'm going to take care of me. Like, really, if we would put these two together, what she's thinking and what she's feeling, her air and her water, but you know what? I'm thinking about really taking care of me right now. It feels like this person lives alone, just saying, or is single, right? This really does feel like, and I'm going to take care of myself by really pulling back and seeing my larger relationship patterns, maybe looking at the history of this relationship, not so much intellectually, but how she feels about it. Where here, the Divine Masculine is really thinking about initiating something new, a new relationship, a new start physically, like actually physical contact, being in the same time, same place, while feeling very much left out, very much abandoned, neglected. Whether that's true or not, that's how they are feeling. So, you know, that could have to do with their own past patterns of abuse, neglect, codependence, and loss, but nonetheless, there it is, the Five of Pentacles and the emotion. So let's see what's going on. I still think the most important card in the deck position. This point of view of the soul. The Divine Feminine, the voice of the soul here, is the Four of Blades, which is certainly a card of meditation and contemplation. I know it looks like the traditional Two of Swords, but it's not. There are two swords hidden underneath the bench upon which she is sitting, blindfolded. Now, I will say, there's that image of the blindfold that we did not see in this rendition of the Eight of Swords here in this Divine Masculine's element of Earth. So there's a little bit of deception. That's what's written on the card here. Self-deception, self-deception, deception of another. Or just not a whole lot of clarity in terms of things are not as they appear to be on the outside between these two. And I think particularly in her life, that what she's going through, what she wants in terms of that happiness, she really has the compassion to do the necessary emotional healing, but pulling back to herself, but she may not be telling anybody about it. I don't feel like she's going through hard emotional trauma here. But I do think the focus is on self-healing and self-love. Now remember, that's not a bad thing ever, number one. Number two, in a soulmate contract, the more you heal yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, energetically, however you want to call that, it automatically, holographically shifts something in your soulmate partners. Now, this one in particular, if her dominant focus here is to write, create, that poet, right? Then it might be, she might be like, you know what, closed for business right now. But it really, if these two know each other, it feels like the Divine Masculine might be really taking offense at that or taking it personally. Because what is on the voice of the soul, so to speak, the spirit position, is the Empress card, right? So there's something here about Venus and Taurus and Libra and matrimony and pregnancy and fertility and abundance. So I feel like the voice of the soul here for the Divine Masculine is very much saying, you're Divine Feminine. This is the Divine Feminine card, right? The Empress. It's sort of like it's sort of saying, look, there's a soul contract here. It's going to play itself out. How it plays itself out, that's up to choices between fear and love, right? Can you break out of your way you think this is supposed to be, and it can only go that way because that's the way the curriculum's supposed to be when curriculums are changing. Highly individualized curriculum for every child of God incarnate, right? Every script is written differently. But still very much wanting this seed, or at least thinking about this seed, to manifest as something more stable. And what could be more stable than an Empress who's actually doing her healing work and being compassionate and filling up her own chalice so that she can share of the overflow. I like this. I like this couple. And I mean, this teacher is absolutely learning from this as well. So I'll pop up a picture of the whole thing. Again, that middle card there, we'll get that in the preview as well as in the Vimeo read. So let me pop up the picture and see what else I see for you. Nice deep breath. Magic clap. So we have the Divine Feminine with the poet archetype. The shadow attribute turns a lyric gift into negative or destructive effect. The light attribute expresses soul insights in symbolic language, so it need not necessarily be in perfect rhyme or meter or anything like that, but there's definitely a poetic aspect about this divine feminine. What she wants is Amaterasu, the sun, right? This happiness, this enlightenment, this freedom, this clarity. And what she has to help her get that is the Six of Cups. Now, I do feel like that is self-compassion for her right now, but I mean, if these two know each other, she's got compassion. This is about the contract, right? So she's willing to heal and deal with what's going on in her own interior world here. She has the skills there. This feels like not just an artist, but a healer for this divine feminine in some way, shape, or form. But definitely feels that compassion. Like, I feel like if these two know each other, she knows this divine masculine is going through it, particularly with that Eight of Swords and the Five of Pentacles. Just feels like she's receptive. But right now she's really focused on herself, unless there really is strong Aries placement within this divine masculine, then that would certainly be that he is on her mind. But even so, with that, that Aquarius card, Ixchel, the Crone of Blades, flying high, seeing from the highest perspective, pulling back, I feel like she might really not just be focusing on herself, but following her own guidance, right? Writing, W-R, not R-I-G-H-T, W-R-I-T-E, right? Like, so writing, creating here, really trying to take these soul insights, right? Well, particularly the light attribute expresses soul insights in symbolic language. I feel like with this Aquarian card, she's accessing that higher humanitarian, egalitarian. Eagle woman is riding an eagle, as also holding a pair of scissors in her hand, so to cut away that which does not serve. And she's not going to cut the divine masculine out, even if she tries. I don't think she even wants to here. She wants the sun. She wants happiness here, but is perhaps willing to sever any emotional attachments or things that no longer serve her, really letting it go. But really, I could almost see this as a therapeutic process, working with a counselor or a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, what have you, really going through this. But it's definitely a mental fixed air Aquarius energy there in her field of water. And, that could then indicate, if we really go in through that more clinical, psychological approach here, that Four of Swords here, that there may be a deception in play, that she might not be thinking completely clearly. Her eyes may be blinded from a past experience, but there's more to be discerned here. There is more to be found, says the soul here, to really turn inward, and it feels like she's doing that, right? Now, jumping over to the divine masculine teacher, like I said, feels like she's pulling inward and upward. The divine masculine with that Five of Pentacles is definitely feeling them left out of the cold, maybe even taking it personally if there's no communication between them. The teacher archetype for the divine masculine, manipulating or abusing students, teaching negative traits and destructive skills, the light attribute, ability to communicate knowledge, experience, skill, or wisdom. So this is a very smart person. The wisdom aspect of it, though, does feel like it's in play here, wanting the Four of Wands. It's like, we don't have to run right to the wedding altar here, but I would, the Four of Wands, if we're going to put it in terms of relationships, if it's not necessarily marriage, it's engagement. It's going steady, right? It's a four. Like, I understand why people call it that, because of the symbolism from Rider-Waite Tarot, right? The Four of Wands been seen as a wedding party or a wedding coming, right? But then it moves, of course, into the Five. So this could very well be a formalization. I just don't know that it necessarily wants marriage. That would seem like too fast for the amount of earth energy going on his side here. And the Eight of Swords, that might be the very thing. The mental looping, right? The anticipation. The ego, it's at war. It worries, it anticipates, and it regrets. So it feels like there's a cycle there, that there are things about the past mentally that this divine masculine has in their element of earth, that they have what they need here, but they have to go through this. They have to go through this process of alchemy, of alchemizing the thoughts. Now, here's the thing that I'm getting from Matt Kahn, because he's a genius. He just is. I adore his work. He says essentially that when you can't stop thinking, when you're overthinking, that your heart isn't open, or you're not in your heart. So breathe and focus on your heart. And for a divine masculine, let's say that's not the easiest thing to do, right? Through conditioning, right? And perhaps, people outside my window. And what he's thinking about this is the Ace of Pentacles. Like, I want this solid foundation. I want this new beginning, whether they know each other or not. It's like, I want something stable in my life. I want my soulmate, right? We'll start from there, right? We'll tend the seed as we go. Let's not jump too far ahead. Although with that Eight of Swords, it's probably more about the past than the future that he has to deal with right now. And with that Five of Pentacles, he's triggered. Emotionally feeling left out, shut out, impoverished, neglected. I wouldn't go so far as to say abused, but I would say neglected. So maybe this pattern between these two has been going on for a while, or perhaps this divine masculine they haven't met yet and hasn't met anybody in a while, and for 2020 that makes sense. But with the point of view, the voice of the soul with the Empress there, that's really beautiful. That the soul is saying there's so much love and fertility and possibility of marriage here. You know, the Empress card is the conglomeration of the four queens of the tarot. Wow, people sound like they're just right in my house, and they're not. And again, this divine feminine might very well be represented in that card of the Empress, that there's a soul contract and a soul bond here. Either way, between a poet and a teacher, if there's no communication going between them, either because they don't know each other or they do, divine masculine, just know they're doing their healing. That what they're doing is to set this up. You both want the same thing, different levels of it, more different intensities of it. But definitely the winds of heaven need to dance between you right now. So there you have it. My Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. May the Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need to heal, to grow, to learn, to become the best that they can be, fulfilling their roles in this happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, satisfying soulmate contract for November 2020 or timeless, and that they may help the world heal through their union, that more love, power, wisdom, grace may flow through them individually, collectively as a couple, and into the quantum entanglement of unity consciousness for the well-being of all. So mote it be. And so it is. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share my stuff. Help me get to 30,000 subscribers so I can do that membership thing. And by all means, hang out for the preview. And if you really connect here, like if you're already feeling yourself in this read, if you're feeling it, jump over to the Vimeo. They're $5, and it's unlimited views. You watch it as many times as needed. You can watch it as long as Vimeo exists, or I'm alive and I have a Vimeo account. Otherwise, wishing you the very best, the very best, the very best, the very blessed of this Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign soulmate contract. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be. There, my crablets, my Cancerian collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to YouTube, the extended reading, or perhaps you are watching the preview. This feels really nice. I'm interested in this couple. I usually am with these soulmate reads. So I'm getting the next deck ready to be shuffled, but first we're going to turn over the dominant soul pattern, the archetype for this contract itself. So we've got the divine feminine poet here, as we discussed, the divine masculine teacher here. This center lane represents what they're both going through. Again, whether they're together or not, whether you know each other or not, doesn't matter. This is the soul power being developed in both of you, that you are helping each other heal, and it's the exorcist archetype. Wow! Wow, pea soup. Anybody? You're all gonna die. No, Linda Blair moment. No, the exorcist is really part of the shaman gestalt of archetypes. We're really looking at a divine family archetype here. The shadow attribute, fear of facing your own demons. Okay, like the only place I'm seeing that here in this divine masculine and divine feminine is in this card right here, or perhaps for the divine masculine, come here, that Five of Pentacles, right? There's something there if that is the case, but demons, your own inner demons, those can be seen symbolically as so many different ways, right? Not just your own inner fears, but your insecurities or your fears, but your addictions, your shadow stuff. It's like, what is a demon if not a collective of repressed, unloved energies that need to be exorcised? The light attribute, freeing yourself and others of destructive impulses. I feel like you put these two together, they're a force for good, honestly. honestly, because with it, I'm just going to say that if I was saying which one's more spiritual, by the way, which is horseshit, everybody's spirit, so you can't not be spiritual, but which one seems to be kind of more moving in that more spiritual direction right now, or at least the healing direction, it seems to be the divine feminine, but that doesn't mean the divine masculine doesn't have the wisdom necessary, right? I like these two. They both want, well, this one wants more like fire and fun, and this one wants more stability, but I feel like they're a perfect match that way, you know? One's going to ground the other, but the other one's going to uplift the other, like a poet and a teacher would, right? So there are some demons going on here. Not the fictional kind. We're not talking The Exorcist in that way, but we're talking about the pain, the unhealed issues going on here, which maybe she's not unaware, maybe she's not so aware of, but is in the process, it feels like, of at least getting on with that work, shadow work, psychology, what have you. And it feels like it would be good for both of them. All right, so there is your 13th card if you were just watching the preview. But now we're going to go deeper. Everything else now is pretty much Oracle, right? We're going to do Healing with the Angels Oracle to find out what the angel is who is assigned to this contract, November 2020 or Timeless. Please breathe.